Last year when I did the exact same thing and stayed at my buddy Adam's place, not a lot happened. I basically spent the entire time playing ActRaiser and sleeping, and maybe watching a couple of videos, like this one, of fish. Actually, I watched E3 videos, and E3 was looking pretty good that year, or this year, but I just wasn't into it. I don't know how to say that correctly, because everybody's like, oh, it's E3, it's this major holiday for people who really like video games. But if I were being honest, there wasn't a lot I enjoyed. Even the Nintendo shows, and I happen to be a fan of Nintendo, wasn't the greatest. I'm not a Smash Brothers fan. That doesn't mean I don't play it. It's just I'm just not very good at it. I don't enjoy playing it. You get the idea. So I watched videos. I got to say that my favorite was the one from Squaresoft. As weird as that sounds, it was just very quick and to the point. And I couldn't tell you which one had games I wanted to play. Honestly, I was just like, eh. I guess Microsoft, but honestly, it wasn't that Microsoft itself, the Microsoft console would get great games. It's just they showed some great games. Sony didn't interest me. Ubisoft was whatever. Devolver Digital was once again weird, and that's just how it was. So I personally did not see a lot. So I spent the first day basically just watching videos and seeing how things were going. And then my buddy was like, "Hey, have you been spending your entire time in bed?" And I was like, "Yeah, sort of." So we went to Popeyes. We grabbed some chicken, which, by the way, I actually budgeted in going to Popeyes for chicken. It's true. I just thought, I need to get some chicken in me, and I did. And so the next day, I went looking for some stuff to help me with allergies, and the first store I went into did not have what I wanted. Hi, Paul. And I liked the place. I mean, it's a cool little place. But then I ended up at a different store, and it's called SARS whatever, grocery outlet, whatever. And it turns out it has a ton of food from different countries, including Hawaii. Pog! Oh my gosh, it was Pog. I don't even like this stuff, and I was like, oh, I gotta buy some. And, stuff from like Mexico and Central America. So, I could make proper, some food that I enjoy, and, Hawaiian stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, MSG? MSG, they have MSG. The tomatoes were just me being fancy. But really, I was so impressed, I decided to go there again another day, just to see if they had any Hawaiian candies, because I can't find those anywhere. Leaky powder and all that. But it was just this nice little grocery store, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who gets the chance. I eventually ended up at a Walgreens, and yeah, they had well, they had some allergy stuff. I bought it. Was pretty quick about it. Can't say I was too interesting of a story, but yeah, I went back. And then I was like, you know what? Once I take this, I should just walk wherever I'm going. And I decided that was my goal for the week, was I should walk wherever I'm going from then on. And, the week between shows. And so I went over to a place called Blueberry Park. And it has some absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. And I would highly recommend that you go to Blueberry Park. It's got a community garden. And in this community garden are flowers that are just incredibly nice. And so, I went in and I took pictures of their flowers and their berries and just about everything I could. And that became a major theme for me, was just getting pictures of flowers everywhere I could. Pictures of just about everything. Which became a bit of a problem, because after a while I had more pictures than I had time to really know what to do with. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed taking pictures. I enjoyed grabbing what I could. And you know what? I don't think I've posted a single one of these to Instagram yet. to give you an idea of how backlogged I am with all these pictures. And it's just a really nice little park, and I walked around and I just took pictures and I kind of enjoyed myself. And then on my way back, I, started playing, whatchamacallit, Secret of Mana. And that was Tuesday. And then my buddy was like, hey, want to go to, now that you've walked to Blueberry Park and back, want to go over to, whatchamacallit? Whatchama-who's it? What is it? Want to go check a game, catch a game. The Storm, the basketball team, the Seattle Storm was having a basketball game, and I was like, you know what? I love going to basketball games. It makes me feel short, and that doesn't happen very often because I'm over 6 feet tall. So we walked around, and we went to a Pike Street Market, and we found some weird stuff. This is from a magic shop, by the way. And of course, I found the gum wall, which isn't that as impressive as I've heard. I mean, that's pretty much it. And we got some food. And honestly, the burger I ate had too much pickle in it. That was my complaint. It just tasted a little too pickly. A little too much vinegar in it. And other than that, it was a great meal. They had some great root beer. And oh my gosh, it was good root beer. And it was all I could drink. Also, this little sign that you're seeing, it has I'm not taking a picture of the people, it's the sign. And it's because it's in 3 different languages. And it kind of weirded me out. But the meal was pretty good. Check out the ketchup. It kind of has a grainy feel to it, and that's very obvious that those are, homemade French fries. And yeah, there's some homeless people. I need to write more about my research on the homeless and how they're responding to Seattle and how Seattle is responding to them. Because it's very obvious that this is becoming a problem, both for the homeless themselves, because frankly they can't find houses to take care of, and there isn't a lot they can do about it. But they're being told, okay, if you come here, you're going to be taken care of, and unfortunately all the things built to take care of them are going away. So it's become this kind of problem. The next day I went out and I grabbed some, I went back to Popeyes because I could. And actually, let me go back to the Storm game. We walked all the way to the Seattle Square, which is where the Space Needle is, and that's a really long walk. And I couldn't take a single picture, and it drove me nuts. And I wanted to take pictures of the game, and it took everything in me to not take pictures of the game, because I'm a retired, I used to shoot sports. I was like, oh, I've got a camera, and I can do this. I was like, no, I can't. Yes, I can. And, I just didn't take any pictures, and I should have. And we quickly got a cab and got back to the ferry, and that was the end of the day. But the next day I got up and I just decided I'm going to go get some Popeye's chicken. So I walked over to Popeye's chicken and I got some chicken. And then I walked some more. And I was just like, I want to get the shots of the bridge, because there's this really nice bridge. And see, this is the shots from the bridge. And I was like, oh, these are great. I love these shots. Oh, wow, look at this. By the way, it turns out it was high tide, so there was some specialness there. And, I walked around and I saw this college. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go visit that college later on. And I just decided that I wanted to get... Let's check out that picture. That's a really nice picture. That I wanted to see the bridge that I kept seeing way off in the distance. So I decided to go there. And I took a ton of pictures on my way there. And yeah, you're like, oh, come on, you can't take that many pictures. Yeah, I can. I took so many pictures, and this is the first shot from what's called the Manette Bridge. And it's this beautiful, beautiful place. By the way, the reason why I took this picture is because of the buildings on the bottom right, not because of the ship. And there's where I was, way off in the distance. That bridge is from the previous water shots. And I've just seen this bridge so many times that I just decided I want to take pictures of this. I want to cross this bridge. And so I crossed it, and I found a nice little eatery, and I thought, oh, maybe I should go to Subway. But something told me not to go to Subway, even though I kind of wanted to do it. And it's just this nice little area. Manette is just the town over from Bremerton. And no, I don't know. And, I'm just taking pictures as fast as I can. And I was just kind of enjoying myself, just walking around, grabbing pictures. There's those buildings again. I don't think people live there anymore, if I were being honest. And I just, started posting about it, pointing out where I was, and I kind of enjoyed myself. And on this way, oh, hey, look, there's a Veloster. I met this lady. Oh, well, yeah. A bunch of stuff is being renovated so that they have more buildings. And on my way, I met this lady. She was like, well, do you know the good eateries around here? I was like, well, honestly, if you want fish, just near the pier, and then you get on the ferry, and then, just walk that area. And from the ferry to the Pike Street Market, you are going to find fish. If you want seafood, they are going to have seafood for you. And she's like, oh, thank you. Wow, you're really good. I was like, well, I'm from Hawaii. I know how to deal with tourists. And, I was just basically walking around the area because I felt like it. And, it was just me walking around. That's a Prius. And yeah, I like cars. And I got kind of tired, so I dropped off at a 7-Eleven, grabbed something to drink. It was, oh, I forget what it's called. And I just took pictures all the way back. And honestly, I enjoyed my walk. And I was like, wow, I still have energy. I can still take pictures. And if you watch carefully, you can see the bridge. See that bridge way off in the distance? That is the bridge I was on, that I crossed. And I basically took as many pictures as I possibly could, posted them as quickly as I could to Instagram when I got back. And it was a beautiful, beautiful day. I mean, just gorgeous, gorgeous day. So I took pictures as many as I could, and that was pretty much my day. I got home, or I got back to my buddy's place, and I was like, okay, I'm good. And that was just me trying to get a proper focus on that berry, and I never could. I don't know why either. It was kind of annoying. But I took as many pictures as I possibly could, and I called it a day. Oh yeah, Thunderbirds. I keep forgetting the name of that thing, but that was the name of the pinball table, Thunderbirds. And I watched it as a kid all the time. And now I find out that it didn't have an American release, so I'm like, how did I watch it? And the other thing that I did all the time was play Secret of Mana. In fact, it got to the point that I asked my buddy if I could borrow it, and I would give it back to him around PAX. So that's what I'm playing right now. I also play Tasmania, which is a very weird game. It's a third-person running game for a Super Nintendo, and they're using Mode 7 tricks and all this stuff, and it's very, very difficult. I got to level 5 before I was just like, I can't move forward anymore. There's a trick here, and I don't know it. So, the entire point of the job, or what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to eat as many kiwis as you can, which is weird because they're actually from New Zealand, but who cares? And you're supposed to eat all the kiwis in the area so then you can pass on. And I did that pretty easily for the first 4 levels. And then level 5, I got hit by a pterodactyl, and it would bring me back to the start, and I could never catch back up. And I also played Tiny Toons Buster Busts Loose, but I didn't enjoy that game, and I couldn't find it after I put it away. I don't know where it is. But the next day, I was like, okay, I was able to walk to Manette Bridge. That's pretty far. So I'm going to see how far I can walk. I am just going to wander a bit. And it turns out that was cool because the ferry was being stopped. They had another bomb scare, and they're like, just don't go onto the ferry, don't do anything. I was like, you know what, that's okay. I have other stuff I want to go see. What I specifically want to see is this college, this really cool-looking university that I passed by the night before. I was like, oh, I'll be a little bit of a tourist here, academic tourist, and I'll just walk through very quickly, And yeah, I took as many pictures as I could. And this is the actual history department right here. And if I were to be honest with you, it wasn't that interesting. I mean, yes, it has pictures of Anglia in the, what is it? I believe that's 12th century. And then it has the Constitution. And here, I believe, oh, Avaberry is another picture of a colonial state. You know, basic history. Nothing big. Uh, that's Londonium on the left. And is it? Oh, it's Paris. Paris. And, you know, I thought it was really cool, but if I were being honest, there wasn't anything. It's really frustrating because as an intercultural historian, I want to find other intercultural historians. And instead I find people who are really obsessed with the 16th century or something. And it's not that the 16th century isn't cool, it's just that it's not what I study. And, you know, I felt like talking to some folks, but it turns out they were closing down that day. And so I just kind of walked in, took some pictures, and walked out and felt all sorts of weird. And this lady was like, "What are you doing here?" And I spun around and felt really guilty. And she's like, "I'm talking to that guy." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I walked on, and it was quite funny. I think she might have thought I was a student, which is awkward because I'm not student age anymore. And what I found was the library, which this is, I have a lot of librarian friends, and this is entirely for them. Because, you know, they'll see these pictures and just be like, oh yeah, they had a crayon place. They had a coloring area in the library, and it was for adults. And I was like, oh, I want to take part with this. And, you know, I took pictures of the books I wanted to, you know, check out a little. And, you know, Great War, the Literary Digest of the History of the World War. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I nearly got this book series. In fact, I think I did, but I had to give it away when I moved from Hawaii to the U.S., or back to mainland. So, oh, and I think I have the first edition, not the second edition. And that's why I got the first edition so cheaply. I just found that out. I was like, oh, I need to read the book so then I can find out what the second edition is. And, you know, just, this is, if you are a librarian, this is almost hardcore pornography right here. It really is. They're just like, oh, look at those books. Look at them. And, you know, I took as many pictures of books as I could. And, you know, the view from this library, it's a very, very well-designed library. They worked hard on the aesthetics. And as I always point out to people, the more you look at it, the more it looks like a video game. It's designed in the same way, and people wonder why, and the answer is because they have the same purpose. Oh, look at those beams. Oh. I mean, yeah, they were very, very working on the aesthetic feel of the building. And that isn't something we had in BYU Hawaii, was aesthetic feel. And here's some Northwest Indian artifacts. Exactly what they look like. Actually, I know how to make these. Not because I'm special, but because somebody showed me. And yeah, basic stuff. And of course, tons of stuff on Karl Marx. And I just tried to get as many pictures as I could so that people could enjoy this. Now, this is the reason why I took a picture of this is C.S. Lewis. This is, you know, different writings by various people, and C.S. Lewis is being considered, you know, in the nonfiction section. And, you know, I was just like, huh, that's interesting. And they had this statue there, which is what I took a picture of. And I walked around and I took tons of pictures. I even went into the engineering area to see what it was like. And I got to tell you, it was very, very boring. Very, very boring. And, you know, oh, yeah. This is at an eatery, and they just have this out. I had to be really careful where I took shots because there were people just to the right of here, and there's actually another kind of restaurant place nearby, and this is the engineering area, and it looks kind of cool, but honestly, I bet it looks really awesome at night. That that's what I would recommend, and I need to combine those two pictures, so then you can get this cool shot of it. And yeah, I just took as many pictures of flowers, and they had flowers everywhere. You know, that's sort of expected. And on my way in the building, I found out that the ferry was now open, so I was like, yeah, okay, I'll walk to the ferry, see what's there. And on my way there, I passed by the fire department, and they had an old school fire truck and a hose. Oh my gosh. Isn't that cool? So I made sure to stop by and take a picture of that. I told the lady about it. She's like, yeah, that's why we have it. I was like, thank you. And this is a movie theater, and it was closed the last time I was there, so I made sure to take some pictures of the movie theater. It had some fairly standard arcade games, nothing too big. Oh, Seawolf. That's actually pretty cool. And the fishing game right there. But check it out. They have a fortune teller. You know, that's pretty cool. And after that, I was just like, okay, I'm going to continue walking. And man, there were a lot of flowers. No wonder I have a backlog. So I got in the ferry, and it just let me out. Literally, I was just walking up to it, and it was ready, and it left almost right after I stepped on it. And on my way there, I wrote some notes, talked about what I was doing, and I noticed they're doing a lot of construction around the ferry. I think they're making a new ferry terminal. And I just decided to walk along Pike Street. And honestly, what I was really doing was I was like, I want to go hang out with a friend. I want to go check out the Living Computer Museum, which a bunch of friends work at, and you know, I have some association with. And I decided I'm just going to go check it out. And you know, I've got a buddy in the area. He's probably going to be at work, so you know, go check him out or take him along with me. And while I'm at it, you know, I might as well go to this restaurant that I saw, and oh, look at all these flowers. Better yet, look at all the construction and look at all the everything that you're looking at. Oh, I had to peek through a chain link fence to get this shot. And I think one of the coolest shots about this is just watch. The more you zoom in, it just keeps going. Ooh. And I just kind of fell in love with the south side of Seattle. Took as many pictures as I could, and the reason why I took a picture of this is, look, Seattle Retro Gaming Expo. The Fisher Pavilion. Seattle Retro 18. And yeah, I was just like, hey, look. And I had to be careful because if you look just above it, it's about a strip joint. And this is the restaurant I was at. It was a Caribbean restaurant. And that's the, let's see if we can read the sign. Yes! You can actually read what was there. And I bought the, which one is it? Caribbean red sauce. No. Bowls and plates. No. I think I got the red sauce. No. I got one of them. That's a great description, but oh, sautéed prawns. And I didn't know this, but it was a sandwich. And I ordered it. I was like, whatever. Can I get one of the sodas as well? And they were like, of course. And somebody had roast, and that's corn on the cob, only roast Caribbean style. And I had, you know, south of the border style Coca-Cola, you know. It's just like, oh yeah. And this is what I ate for lunch. Shrimp covered in garlic. And get this, my anti-allergent. Fought it off. I did not get sick even a day after eating that. I was so happy about that. I should have gotten sick almost immediately afterwards. I did not. Instead, I just kept on walking. And oh man, that is a beautiful shot of the area. Safecoat Field had a baseball game going on. So I took, oh yeah, little Datsun. And yeah, there's more homeless people. They were just literally, wherever they could, they would just put up tents and build houses. And literally just on the Safecoat Field area. And people were just rushing there. And just look carefully at this and you see those flowers. And I was like, oh man, that is a great shot. And I just kind of fell in love with the area. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Pike Street Market. So I walked over to the area. By the way, there were no socks in there. And I walked over to the place that I had taken pictures of beforehand. I was like, oh, I'm just going to go in, catch stuff that I didn't catch when I was walking to the Seattle Storm game. And there was this area, this area right here. Do you see any signs that there is an arcade in there? If you say no, I'll agree with you. But there was. And for some odd reason, I knew there was an arcade. And that was amazing to me because I was like, I just knew there was an arcade. And I think I have this weird sense about where arcades are. Because I've done it before, multiple times, where I just go, there's an arcade right there. And they had some nice classic games out and some newer classic games. That's the big form of Space Invaders and Pac-Man. And, next to some classic games like, check that out, Simpsons. And, oh, Batman. That came out last year. And it's actually a really fun game, but not a lot of people play it because they're like, oh, it's weird. They're like, yeah, I'm bad at pinball, so I don't care. And there's actually a lot of room here. There should be more, but they just weren't able to move it in yet. But all the way back, I just walked all the way back and just took pictures of whatever I could. Didn't think much of it, but I was like, man, there's more. I just know there's more. And on my way there, I started to spot some more games, NBA Jam, and there was a carousel. Yeah. But not only a carousel. I mean, yes, this carousel is nice, but they had more arcade games. And that, by the way, this game came out 2 years ago. But, coin press, whatever. You got to see this. The shooting gallery. Check this out. Old school guns. I believe it's an old pellet shooter game. And what you do is you hit the targets. Oh, wait. You can see the lights. It's a light gun game. And they have a bunch of animatronic stuff. And they've got an old school design. And back in the day, they used to have stuff like this, only you shot an actual gun. And I was just like, I didn't expect that to be there, but I knew it was, so I wanted to make sure. And if you look carefully, you can see the Seattle National Bird, the crane, in this picture. And I just walked around, taking pictures of whatever I wanted to, and I just kept on going. And it was a pleasant walk. You can find hobbits in here. And I just continued taking pictures, which is why I have a backlog. 2 weeks of taking pictures, man. What were you expecting? Let's see if I got a video. Yes, I got a video. And there were people just posing. And I kept walking, and I decided I'm going to go to Park Street Market. And I'm glad I did, because on my way there, I took the main steps, the major steps, and I did not take a single elevator up. And, it's a gorgeous view, and, just tons of stuff to photograph. And this is actually from, if you looked straight down, you could see the place that I ate dinner. But I continued taking pictures, and I just thought the area itself looked really cool. kind of Art Deco, really. And this is the gum wall, which I finally got to see. And let me tell you, it smells like gum, which was kind of disgusting. But yeah, they cleaned it out, cleaned it off a couple days ago, or a couple of years ago, but it's back once more. They clean it off every 5, 6 years, so that it doesn't destroy the walls themselves. And I just took pictures of Pike Street Market. It turns out it was closed. And, just kind of enjoyed myself. And I walked all the way back. That's literally the ferry coming to pick me up. And I was just like, oh man, this is great. I went out, I did all this walking, I'm so happy. Oh, by the way, that's a bench. They just painted those onto all the benches, or onto all the tables. And I took pictures of everything that I could. And you can just see everything, just everything that I walked to in this shot. Didn't think about that, but you could. And it was just a gorgeous, gorgeous day. And we actually had to stop for this, that's a carrier. And the reason why we stopped is it's a carrier. It could, it has the right of way. And it's very, very rare that a ferry does not have the right of way. And then a buddy of mine was like, oh man, that's a really long walk that you've taken. I'll pick you up. And it turns out I walked about 10 miles that day. And so I stopped off at another castle. Is that what it is? Yeah. And this is just a signpost, and somebody had knitted it a design. And while I was there, a couple broke up. And some guy was trying to make some excuse on why they were breaking up, but really I think it was because he had sex with her and he was like, I'm done. I don't want to have sex with you anymore. And she was trying to understand what was going on, and he was trying to make up excuses, but frankly they were drunk. And it was all kind of, why are you leaving me? 'Cause I don't love you anymore. I mean, it was so bad. Oh man, it was, I had to stand there for 15 minutes. And then my buddy's like, I got a bunch of quarters. Let's play some games. And so we played some games. And of course I took some pictures. Theater Magic was the one he tried the hardest at, and he did not make any high scores, but it is a fun, fun game. That magic box twists around, and there's other little magical things around. So you can play this game for, a high score, and it just does cool things. And I just like the painting. And then we played some Pac-Man, and I ended up winning. Not on purpose. I mean, it just turns out I was better than him. Or, I just had better luck anyway. And there's my favorite, one of my favorite pinballs, Game of Thrones, right there. And we just played until we decided to head out. And the very next day was setting up for for they need a bigger fish pond, so they filled up a kiddie pool while they're making the bigger fish pond. The very next day was going to be setting up for Seattle Retro Gaming Expo, and I decided I couldn't walk because I had to carry a car, and that car was really, really annoying. Check this angle out. Those fish are getting big. And so I decided, and that was pretty much the week in between times, and I was really happy and enjoyed it. And thank you for watching this entire video with a bunch of flowers, and you saw arcades and you saw video games, and that was literally all I did, was just walk around and check stuff out. And I looked for arcades and I found them, but I also looked at architecture and how it worked, and I also looked at academia and how it tries to set itself up. What I also did was take a lot of pictures of flowers, and I discovered I could walk way more, and I wasn't having an allergic reaction, which was so nice because I literally would break out into hives if I wasn't taking this anti-allergent, and I would get sick. And I literally ate foods that would make me sick, and I wasn't getting sick. So that week was absolutely stupendous. Very special thanks to Adam and Allie for letting me stay at their place. And yes, I'm still playing Secret of Mana.